Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkness values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the I Am CEO podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the IAM119 podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Duke Tran of Sano.ai. Duke, it is awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here, man.
It's great to have you here, and I know you're doing some really awesome things. So what I wanted to do is just read a little bit more about Duke so you can learn a little bit more about him and all the awesome things that he's doing. And Duke is a determined software developer and over 5 years experience of healthcare informatics. He believes how we combine technology with healthcare will ultimately shape our future's generation. Duke, are you ready to speak to the I Am CEO community?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. So the first question I had was just to hear a little bit more about your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Yeah, so I wanted to step back and just tell you a little bit about my personal story and how I got started to answer that question. So last April, my wife and I, we actually had our first child. Her name is Faith. To be honest, man, it was one of the happiest days of my life. All right. For some reason, children really bring out the sap out of you.
Right.
But unfortunately, when she was born, she had a pretty sizable hole in her heart. And at the age of 3 months, she had to undergo heart surgery. My family and I had to almost spend 2 months at the hospital due to complication with her recovery. We were so excited when we finally able to bring her home. However, the aftermath of our extended stay at the hospital was a stack full of bills from all of Faith's different care providers. My wife was struggling, trying to understand everything we were receiving, but I was able to spot out a lot of errors on our billing because of my background and with medical claims. That's when I saw the opportunity to enhance the way how medical claims are processed and in turn to improve patient care. For this is the reason why I ventured out to create Sano. It's a technology startup, so within the healthcare for providing a smart claim servicing.
Interesting. Yeah. Obviously, I'm sorry to hear that about your daughter, but great to hear, obviously, everything, turned out okay. But I can't imagine going through something like that, basically probably highs and somewhat lows, but being able to kind of have your daughter, come through it and then get home and have to deal with all these kind of, I guess, the whole aftermath that you spoke about of everything that was done correctly or not done correctly and having to figure out exactly how to navigate all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess could you tell me and tell us a little bit more about Sano, what you're doing and how you kind of serve the clients, how you're helping to kind of equip the IT with the healthcare industry?
Absolutely. So going back, like I said, it's a technology company within the healthcare industry. We're not the healthcare themselves. We just provide the technology. And what we focus on is the billing for growing medical practices by providing a software as a service that allows for a better claims processing point for providers and patient outcome. And it will be a way where we can actually automating claim processes and also in return business processes there because doctors want to get paid on time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess the process itself is not as streamlined as it could be. And that's kind of like where Sano, I guess, hops in and helps out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I wanted to ask you for what I call Sano or yourself, the secret sauce. What do you feel kind of distinguishes you or makes you kind of different and unique?
What I believe really stands out and unique, which I haven't seen in a lot of companies, is that having a balanced leadership. Which by that, I mean the people I get involved with, such as the board members and the advisory boards, have a particular background of the whole healthcare industry's perspective in terms of one would be the health insurance, providers' offices, doctors, technical personnel. I try to have it very balanced so that we all can share what we know within our background so that we can actually solve this one problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, I imagine like when you have so many different constituents and people that are involved and, stakeholders within kind of like the whole entire, I guess, claim process, you probably have a lot of people that you have to make sure that, I don't know, for lack of a better term, they're happy and they're getting the service that they want and they're getting the end result that they want.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I know you said you worked a little bit in the industry, so you definitely have like an on the ground level kind of outlook. And you also have the kind of tech know-how in order to implement that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, what I wanted to do was switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient as a business owner.
Yeah. My personal CEO hack is two things, is books and mentor. For the past summer, I gave myself a challenge trying to read as much books as possible. I was able to finish a lot by combining either paperback or even Amazon's Audible, and read as much as possible. And for mentors, it's hard to find really good mentors out there. And I was fortunate to find a couple, mainly because they're out there just to mainly help you grow to better yourself and your business. And the person who usually gives you like the straightforward inputs is probably the best guy, the guy who gets you a little bit mad at the inside, but he's right at the end of the day. Those are what I call one of the true mentors. That's definitely a diamond in the rough there.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I've always heard that from anybody that's been, super successful, to be able to, have somebody that will tell you exactly what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, or not tell you anything, but somebody that can kind of give you that quick kick in the butt, so to speak. And then, as you mentioned, being able to kind of read all those books and take in all that information, sometimes that's kind of like a informal, I guess, mentorship you can sometimes get from some of the best experts in the world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
Awesome. And now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom, a piece of advice, or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
Yeah, absolutely. If I have a time machine, I would go back and probably kick myself in the butt a couple of times. But but one thing I would definitely say is have a vertical alignment. And what I mean is that any type of decisions you make, it has to fall in line of yourself, really. And my vertical alignment is pretty simple. It's God, country, and family, and everything else. And so that really is usually the things that makes my decisions. And I stand by it with either with my family or with the company. So it's easier to make decisions when we have those steps going for you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's kind of like knowing your why and understanding everything that you're doing. So, when you're trying to make a difficult decision, you're trying to figure out whether you should go right or left. If you can kind of look at those, like you said God, country, and family, correct? Yeah, if you can go through that kind of filter, so to speak, I imagine that it probably has helped you make some what might be difficult decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Awesome. Now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition for what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show and kind of look at entrepreneurship and business and exactly what that means. So I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
To me, the very beginning, I actually had to step back and really, really think about this. At first, it just meant just a title to me, to be honest. But as I transitioned into a role, it started to grow a lot more into me. So if anyone out there looking into starting their own company, definitely it's a huge, huge responsibility, accountability. Really, you're doing something for a purpose. You see that there's an opportunity. So now that you're going to have a lot of people betting on you. So whether you succeed or fail, see that CEO title, it's going to stick with you, right? So to me, first it's the title, but also the behind the scene meaning of it. And they'll be able to always doing the right thing and having that type of mentality and driving force. And I think when you look at it, it's a personality. CEO is some people has what it takes and some people doesn't, and that's the truth.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I love how you mentioned, you have that kind of ideal or mentality in whether or not you're in a quote unquote CEO role. Of course, it's, a title. You still kind of have that CEO mentality within you, or whether you want to or not sometimes. And it kind of is something that kind of leads you and kind of takes you through everything that you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Duke, I truly appreciate you for taking some time out of your schedule. What I wanted to do was pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there was anything additional you want to let our readers and our listeners know, and then also how best people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to say thank you to you, man, and what your company is doing. If anything else I need to add on is that if anyone out there who's listening to this and would love to get in touch with Gresham, he's out here serving us, the CEOs, right? The one that's starting it up. And definitely he's doing something for the better so that we can actually get our name out there. If they are listening to this and if somehow getting your information, that's the best out of it. But if anyone want to know more about my business, it's easy. It's just grab my email. I'm always on LinkedIn. My email is dtran@cno.ai. And I believe my LinkedIn would be posted up somewhere here. But yeah, that's 2 ways you can definitely get in touch with me.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Duke, and thank you for the shout out, but it's easy to do and kind of showcase entrepreneurs and business owners when you have people like you on the show that are doing some awesome things. So that makes it a lot easier for me. So again, I truly appreciate you, and we'll make sure to have the links in the show notes just so that anybody can follow up with you. But again, I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You too, brother.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM119.co. I Am CEO is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.